Environmental justice affects every aspect of our daily life. According to Pellos, environmental injustice describes how the policies which harm the environment, quote, mirror the harms experienced by the most marginalized human beings across the planet. In particular, people of color, women, and the working class tend to be the most affected. One key aspect of environmental injustice is environmental racism. In short, this is how those who suffer as a result of environmental injustice tend to be poor people of color. This is done through devaluation and differentiation. People of color disproportionately live in more polluted areas and work more toxic jobs. Right in the middle of Orange County, 3 different freeways meet up. The 5, the 22, and the 57 all meet in this area, while the cities of Anaheim, Orange, Santa Ana, and Garden Grove lie around. This area is called the Orange Crush, kind of like the soda. To get to pretty much anywhere in the county, you have to pass through this interchange. Within a few miles are famous locations such as Disneyland, Main Place Mall, Angel Stadium, and The Block. As a result, there's pretty much constant traffic. Driving through this area on a weekday should definitely be avoided. Baseball games and concerts also make driving here a lot worse. Of course, as a result of the freeways, the traffic is not just limited to the Orange Crush, but actually spills into the local streets of the surrounding communities. Something I have realized through my research is the scale of the environmental racism which occurs in the area. The area which surrounds the Orange Crush has a high population of people of color, particularly Hispanic and Asian. Santa Ana in particular has the highest Hispanic/Latino population in Orange County. Additionally, it is one of the poorest cities in the county. The Orange Crush brings pollution and noise which affects the local community. For instance, I've heard in the past that people's children have gotten asthma due to living in the area. The air quality is notably worse compared to wealthier areas in the county. The Orange Crush also brings a lot of noise to the community. This makes it difficult to sleep at night for some. There are a lot of business centers located around here. However, the people who work here will never have to deal with the same level of air pollution and noise which the people who live here do. In contrast, vendors line the sidewalks of the exits trying to sell flowers and food. They risk their health and even their lives trying to make a living. The fact that working class people of color live and work here is no accident. The bodies of racial minorities are often devalued. Polito mentions how land is one of the ways in which this occurs. People of color are seen as sinks for pollution, meaning that they have to bear the repercussions of it, including all of the health effects. All of this is allowed by the state to happen in order to ensure that capitalism continues to run smoothly. People in the area do try to resist the crowdedness associated with the Orange Crush. Right behind me is the 22 freeway. It connects Orange and Santa Ana to Long Beach, passing through Westminster and Garden Grove. I'm only about a mile away from the Orange Crush. This is Hart Park in Orange. It is a pretty popular park in the area. It connects to the Santiago Creek Trail and hosts a playground, a baseball field, and picnic tables. People from Orange and neighboring Santa Ana come here for leisure, parties, and exercise. The trail allows them to escape from the rush of everyday life. There is still air pollution, and the trails allows for locals to reclaim their community. Is there noise and pollution? Absolutely. But people don't have to have their lives defined by this. By accessing this park and the surrounding trails, such as the Santiago Creek and Santa Ana River trails, residents are reclaiming their community. Lately, I've seen the planting of more native plants in the Santiago Creek Trail, for instance, providing an accessible nature center, even if near a major interchange, still improves the lives of locals and allows them to resist the destructive freeways in their community. However, there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. There's work that everyday people like you and I can do to combat this inequality. Numerous other groups, for instance, have already fought for environmental justice. Taylor mentions how Chicano activists demanded the removal of harmful pesticides, which were eventually banned. Thus, a key way to fight this injustice would be to form groups which aim to bring environmental justice for these communities. They can demand better access to nature facilities, improved alternatives to driving such as public transportation, and walls to reduce the noise of traffic. Planting trees near freeways can ensure that there is less noise, while also making trees take in more of the carbon dioxide. Activists need to target local government leaders and demand changes be made to the existing interchange. Of course, this cannot be done within the state, as Polito mentions the state is often an enemy to environmental justice. However, just because the state is resistant to activists doesn't mean that any change would be impossible. It is critical that we fight for the rights of those less fortunate and demand environmental justice for all. While Orange County is associated with the extravagance of Disneyland or the wealth of Newport Beach, the truth is it is home to a great deal of inequality. This is especially sad because there are so many culturally rich communities in Orange County. The situation may seem hopeless, but we cannot let this dissuade us. Fighting for these communities is crucial to improving their lives, and maybe one day, environmental justice will come and people will no longer have to suffer. Thank you so much for watching my video,